it's amazing. Atrion's been in business for 23, 24 years, going on our 24th year now, and we've always done a lot of work in the university space. And I remember the days in universities where students came into the classroom, or to the college campus, they had no computers, no access to internet, no dial-up, no nothing. They had a phone, and that was their main tool that they used. And now it's a God-given right that they have internet access.
Right.
And what's amazing when I talk to people working in the university space is if internet access is down, they're getting a phone call from the parents. We've seen the cases of, yeah, I see Jim shaking his head there. Yeah. But the problem is it's not just the hard down that's the problem. It's the underperforming.
Oh, the degraded performance. I mean, you even look at it with the consumerization of IT. We all hear that term, right? Users expect that when they're at work, they're going to get the same level of performance as when they're at home. Thank you, cable companies. Thank you, Verizon, for dropping in these inexpensive, incredibly high bandwidth internet connections at home and then making it really expensive for me to offer the same things at work.
Yeah.
Right? So now, people come to work or they go to, a university. They're used to this certain level of performance at home, when they're on break or during the summer. They show up at the dormitories and they're getting a severely different, a different experience.
Right.
You end up with a reputation problem, right?
Yep, and you're getting calls from parents.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
You got all our university clients out there shaking their head saying yes. Yeah. Parents are calling us saying, why am I paying this money for my kids to not have internet access?
Yeah, it's...
And we're telling them to study more.
Yeah.
Right?
Table stakes now, right?
Yeah. So in the model of this, when we talk about managing performance, looking at the performance, because it's not just the hard downness issues, the performance-based issues or the perceived user experience. Mm-hmm. How does someone go about getting that in their organization?
I think there are really two ways to do it. One way is what I was describing earlier, that many organizations have different tools for each, different management tools for each silo of technology or technology discipline. They've got a tool that's monitoring and looking at performance statistics on the network. They have tools that are looking at servers. They have maybe even specialized tools per application that are actually looking at performance indicators. And you you work with the manufacturer or the vendor and determine what acceptable performance thresholds are and trigger monitoring on that and be polling them on a regular basis. The problem with that is none of it gets correlated back to give you a good visual for what is the business impact. So this switch, this router is having performance problems. It's not down yet. It's having it has performance indicators that are approaching or exceeding a threshold that is indicative of a problem likely to happen. How much of an impact is that going to have on my business? I'll give you another example. So, one of our consultants, Dave Phillips, he goes out to a customer down in southern New England, down in Connecticut, and conducts a business process mapping exercise with them, looking at their technology and saying, what are the key business processes with your business? How do those map across the infrastructure that they actually have there? They had no real IT department. They had technology in place, but it was like many of those smaller businesses, somebody in finance gets stuck with, owning IT. Once he went through and identified for the CEO of this company that there was this old consumer class router that was connecting them to the internet, across which they had several software as a service or outsourced mission critical business applications that they were getting from the internet, and explained to them that, did you realize that if that router, which by the way, I could have got at CompUSA back when they were still in business, it's not something that's supported anymore. If that thing goes down, that business process, and that business process will not function at all. This individual gets up from the table, turns around, sprints out of the office, and goes over to talk to the CFO, but we have to do something about this. Had no idea whatsoever. IT, what little IT they had, didn't know how to explain and probably didn't even understand the business impact that little piece of technology or that an internet connection was actually having on the organization. They weren't speaking the same language.